Zoids fall short. The monster machine needs support. Build the bear fighter for warfare. Command wolf, strikes, fierce and deadly. Blowing lights, flashing shooting delivery. Fights in Nevas and then the gallows too. Command wolf, see the Helic Republic through. But the command wolf Zoids fall short. The monster machine needs support. So the bear fighter for warfare, and the arrows are a repair. With another empire god Gylos comes. This new evil empire foe beats the war drums. So the household phases the wolf out. This new Gylos war leaves us with no doubt. Cataclysm erases our force now. The strongest Zoids extinct with a great power. We must revive the command wolf for war. The second Gylos war conflict restore. But the command wolf Zoids fall short. The strongest Zoids extinct with a great power. We must revive the command wolf for war. For war. The second Gylos war conflict restore.